an interesting head-to-head has emerged here between Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz, two junior senators, both Cuban-Americans, similar backgrounds, but quite different in terms of style and also their appeal. And this race you could easily see it emerging as a contest between those two 40-somethings.
Right. Of all the people in the field who are elected officials, they're poised to jump to the very top. They're kind of in third and fourth place right now, and they have all these on the surface similar characteristics, but they're working quite different lanes here. Marco Rubio is open to free trade, has a softer position on immigration than Ted Cruz, and Ted Cruz is known for blocking things explicitly in Washington, working he came out of the Tea Party and has stuck with it.
Known almost exclusively for.
Yes. They both came out of the Tea Party. Marco Rubio, though, is much more of an establishment figure who's trying to get things done in Washington in the sense that he was part of the Gang of Eight who tried to pass a big immigration bill. Ted Cruz has stuck with the Tea Party and said if it violates any Tea Party principles on fiscal matters, he's not going to bend.
The other thing that is really interesting between those two is the way they use their Cuban-American background, where Rubio tells his life story in a way, often in Spanish, he's fluent, to try to draw in Hispanic support. And Cruz, on the other hand, who is not fluent in Spanish, tells his story in a way that it would appeal to evangelicals. He talks about his father being an alcoholic, leaving the family, finding God, coming back to the family, and being a good father after that. So it's a very different tale of a use of their background.
You know, it seems to me that if it does ever come to a Cruz versus Rubio standoff, there's a distinct Rubio advantage in that he's the guy who can appeal to conservatives over here and the establishment over there. And the establishment shows no sign of ever getting comfortable with Ted Cruz. Well, that to me is the key distinction between these two guys.
One thing that will be fascinating to watch coming out of this debate is this election so far has been marked by attitude. You have an angry Republican electorate that their anger has fueled the rise of Trump and Carson and surprised us all. It's deeper than most of us expected. It's what Jeb Bush's problem is. He self-diagnosed it. He has said recently, reflecting on his failure to kind of get momentum, gee, the candidate has to understand and respond to the anti-Washington anger in the electorate. Ted Cruz plays to that much more directly than Marco Rubio. So while Rubio has a lot of advantages and is more broadly acceptable within the party, if that angry feeling is what predominates, even coming after what will be a substantive debate based on, say, tax policy, Cruz will get an advantage.
Right, because if you're going to fall away from Ben Carson or Donald Trump because you don't think they're going to make it, not because you're disillusioned with them, but you don't think they're a winning ticket, you're more likely to fall to Ted Cruz than anybody else in this picture, probably.
Absolutely, and I think we could be moving in that direction. And, you know, there are so many people in Washington and among the media who think, well, and even some of the candidates like Jeb Bush think, clearly, at some point, we're going to revert to form, and these outsiders are not going to be able to sustain this kind of support. But we should keep in mind the election in Kentucky. A complete outsider wins the governorship there. Keep in mind what happened to Eric Cantor in Virginia. The House Majority Leader toppled in a shocking primary. This is an enduring coalition of angry people.
Not to mention the Speaker of the House of Representatives recently resigning.
And so we could be in for some more surprises.
Yeah, a little humility is in order here, because just about everything that just about everybody, including me, has thought about this race has turned out to be wrong so far. So I accept that.